parent. I'm a parent. I have two little kids. You are on the front lines dealing with some of these really tough issues right now. I'd like to get your thoughts. What are some issues that parents need to be aware of, especially that might be coming up in future years? What should we be concerned about? What should we be vigilant about that maybe we're not being vigilant about?
Well, I think part of the reason I wrote the book also is to say to people, hey, this is not a philosophy. Our faith is not a truth. This is truth. And God is giving this to us so that we can be emboldened. And when we speak out against ridiculous things like critical race theory, anything that smacks of cultural Marxism, reject it with everything you have. Homeschool your kids. Sam Sorbo is a tremendous resource. Sam Sorbo has a website. She's, of course, the wife of Kevin Sorbo or Hercules, depending on how you know him. But homeschooling, I think that you could do a bad job homeschooling, and that would be an infinitely better education than most of the education kids are getting in public schools or even in private schools, and even sometimes in Christian schools. You have to be aware because a lot of them are very naively going woke. I think you have to reject the transgender bandwagon. These are things that are being foisted on us with a kind of a rapidity that should make everybody know something's wrong. They don't want us to know the truth. Whether you're talking about vaccines, election fraud, we're living in times where we can no longer trust journalists the way we did. We can no longer trust doctors the way we did. It's sad, but it has woken up the church. It's waking up the church. People need to be awake and they need to know, you know, in my Bonhoeffer book, I deal with this. The church was slow to wake up. And that is the model of what not to do. If we do not wake up and fight, and there are a lot of Christians who have bad theology that says, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to fight. That not only is that not biblical, that's demonic. God calls us to fight evil. He calls us to fight on our knees in prayer, but he also calls us to fight in all kinds of other ways, getting involved. Bonhoeffer was like a voice, like an Old Testament prophet, and the church of his day did not heed his advice until it was too late. And so you want to say to people, hey, if you don't spend your money for God's purposes today, if you have money, a lot of money, you may not even have that money a few years from now. It'll be taken away from you. If you have a voice and you can speak freely, it might cost you something, but if you don't use that voice now, you may not have that voice in a year or 3 years. The church needs to stand and fight right now on every level. And if you're a parent, I would say definitely get involved in school boards. Don't let anybody ever intimidate you. Do not let them do that. They're afraid of you, which is why they're threatening you. Get involved. And if God calls you to homeschool or to do something like that, there are innumerable possibilities, but do not let your kids get near this stuff. The hour is late, and we need to get really serious. I also believe God is going to turn things around, but his church has to fight. We have to stand and fight. We have to be armed, with information. On the science thing, just what I write about in this book, it almost cracks me up. I'm thinking, tell me where I'm missing something here. I know I'm not, because I got all this information from scientists. So people are gaslighting us that Christians have their weird views. It is nonsense. We have to be bold. We have to know what we believe, and we have to act. And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your kids and your grandkids.